is up, everyone? And what is up with my microphone? 1 second. Let me find where it is. I mean, not microphone, the webcam. That was way too close. How's everyone doing? Happy Sunday. Waiting for the caffeine to kick in. Just been having one of those off days. You cast magic smoke. Yeah, so I got some new camera equipment in that I'm testing out and stuff. Also got my few replacements and upgrades coming in for this. The battery should be here latest Wednesday, so I can finally get that issue resolved. And then I'm working on an upgrade here where I'm going to have the top replaced and have my logo made into it. And the reason why I'm replacing the top isn't just for an aesthetic thing, but because if I get a fully aluminum plate, as was discussed by some other people that had the same laptop, it'll make it a little bit better in terms of thermals, because I think the Wi-Fi chip in here is overheating, which is why I got some better thermal pads I'll be testing out this week as well. It was a little issue that some people have been discussing, but you know what? That's the beauty of open source. So I got these G-lid, whatever the hell you pronounce them, thermal pads here, 2 millimeters thick. These were pretty good ones. I've got some Captain tape as well to move the connectors out of the way. And that's the beauty of this being open sourced, is more people can actually discuss what's going on and have our solutions on ourselves and all that without having to deal with vendors and being beholden to them. Cast magic smoke on all rich people's phones and computers. Really? Sorry about my grandpa. Yeah, it happened a couple weeks ago. It is what it is. Circle of life. I'm more pissed off at my family for not letting me know that he had passed, and instead me finding out through my family and them being a bunch of unaccountable pricks that are just like, well, you didn't answer your phone, and I'm like, and you didn't leave a text message nor a voicemail to call you back. So when a relative that doesn't ever call you calls out of the blue and you don't leave a message, I'm just going to assume it's either a butt dial or it wasn't that important. Yes, Magic Smoke, aka their phones and computer died. Yeah. Speaking of crashing out, I don't know if we're going to segue into that, but did you see how Elon Musk is crashing out over his baby mama drama? Because apparently he removed posts from his ex. What's up, Sarah? How's it going over on the TikTok side? I'm waiting for caffeine to hit me, so if I seem a little bit out of it, I apologize. I'm waiting for like 300 milligrams of caffeine to hit me all at once. And I'm going to probably be like Robin Williams in the middle of his stand-up going around. You're going to swear that I did some nose candy like Trump. So I did get my new microphone and camera set up over here that I've been playing just a little bit with. So I'm going to be moving on from the newer CM28 microphone to the DJI Mic 2. And I like this setup here. I noticed that it sounds a little bit better. Not enough to like say, hey, ditch the newer CM28 and just go straight to this. But the main reason I'm moving to it is I don't know, because I don't have Twitter and I don't get Twitter news. I'm seeing it all through my blue sky of different people. So I got this little guy. This is a camera on a gimbal. Whee! It's actually a really nice camera, just as a camera alone. So I got this to be as one of my primary cameras when I'm on the go. So like you can, here, like let me show you. This is kind of cool. So if I set up face detection. Alright, so it's going to detect my face. And then look at that. I can still have it focusing on me. So, yeah. This will be really nice when I go to cybersecurity conventions and stuff like that to do recordings and everything. So he removed posts from his ex on X. Pretty much, that is exactly what happened. And why did she make posts on X? Well, because apparently Elon Musk was being a horrible father and wasn't responding to the mother of his child talking about some serious situations with a kid. I knew he randomly fell on your YouTube channel. Well, welcome to the, the shit show or whatever you want to refer to this as. Okay. So there we go. I'm trying to play with this. Okay, so this apparently just plugs in like that. I would love to Linux, but man, the anti-cheat problem. So here's the reality. There's no issue with anti-cheat on Linux. Kernel level anti-cheat is the issue. So I play plenty of games with anti-cheat on it, like Halo, The First Descendant, things like that. I mean, hell, I was playing Apex just fine until EA decided to be a bag of dicks and then say, yeah, we're going to require kernel level anti-cheat. What camera is that? This is the DJI Pocket Camera 3. So I'm playing with this. So I've got the DJI mic set up for it. And then you can just, set up one mic over here. Let's see. Nice, how the receiver actually did the firmware update and didn't pay attention. Oh well. Come on. Okay, so the connector is kind of a little bit finicky. So it does have a mono and a safety track. Yeah, the microphone is picking up and you can actually see the audio on this. That's kind of nice how it just sinks right in. You could probably use the newer CM28 I was playing with this. I was recording some video last night to try it out. So that'll be what I probably... Do I have a Discord server? Yes, I do. You have a 40-minute video on VPNs? Yes, I do. I had one talking about basically how VPNs are overhyped and not a silver bullet. That was mostly just talking about my position because a lot of people overhype VPNs. They think they're a magic cure-all. But in reality, what more people need to focus on is how you're using the internet than how you're accessing the internet. The nice thing is that this is a nice little carrying case for this. I think that there's a cabal of tech companies trying to trick people into not using Linux. You mean that company? I think that cabal is called Microsoft. You mean the company that literally called Linux a cancer when Steve Ballmer was the CEO? That company? Yeah. That's the only thing holding me back from Linux. Well, here's the thing when it comes to, people that make these arguments of, well, kernel level anti cheat is the only thing holding me back from Linux. These motherfuckers are going to still keep using kernel level anti cheat and things you don't agree with as long as you abide by it. The only way they change their behavior is if you change your actual habits and start putting your money where your mouth is and don't endorse companies that put shit like that. Here's my argument whenever anyone says, well, I have this one game that, is the only reason I can't play Linux. You're telling me there aren't thousands of other games you could just as easily entertain yourself with? You're not going to get sympathy from me, a gamer that grew up with Linux like 20 years ago or so. Okay, there's some games I don't play. Guess what? Thousands of other games there I can enjoy. Heard of the North Korea crypto heist? Yeah, it's an old news thing. North Korea has been using many different ways to wash money. Y'all do know that North Korea was laundering US dollars long before cryptocurrency was around. They were apparently one of the largest organizations that was counterfeiting US currency. They have a vested interest in making sure that they have some supply of dollars, even if they sell counterfeit money. Like, the interesting thing about counterfeit money is the counterfeiters will basically sell it for like 60 to 70 cents on the dollar. It's really interesting. And before you're like, how do I know this? Discovery Channel. Can't wait for US to open Fort Knox. They've been talking about trying to audit Fort Knox for years. I mean, hell, I was a proponent of auditing Fort Knox back when I was a big supporter of Ron Paul. By the way, I really love this little laptop, even though I still have a couple of small issues I just have to work out. The new battery should be here Wednesday. There's a slight thermal issue I have where I think the Wi-Fi is dropping out because of the overheating wireless chip. I'll know more in the near future. So I'm working on PCBWay reached out to me a few weeks ago if I wanted to collaborate with them on any project. Well, I finally have a project I want to collaborate with them on, which is replacing this little top cover here, the black and copper, with a full 6061 aluminum piece. I'll get my logo laser engraved, and what I'll probably also do, because they were also the manufacturers of this entire chassis, get it anodized purple to match the color of this. So it'll be an aesthetic and thermals upgrade. People reporting 20 to 30 degrees Celsius drops just by doing that and combining it with 2.5 millimeter thick thermal. So I'm going to be ordering some new thermal pads for that. Yeah, I love this little device. I bought the purple version. They had a black version as well. And you can change the keyboard whenever you want, whenever it boots, it switches back to purple, I notice. So there must be something I can do to keep that rock solid. But overall, I love this device. I just got to work through the couple of small issues I have where one of the battery packs was defective, apparently out the box. Not a big deal. It's an open source 606090 lithium polymer. The pain in the ass was finding a supplier that had the PCM protections I wanted to have in there. So I found one through eBay. And then the Wi-Fi seems to drop out after it's on for a while, about 20 or 30 minutes in. I think that's a thermal issue. It could also be a wire position issue. So there was a couple people that reported that issue. And then once I get the battery in and can tinker with it a little bit more, when the battery's proper, what I was going to do is I popped off these bezels when I wasn't on stream, and I noticed that there's some nice empty space around this area here. So what I was thinking of doing was installing some 5G cell antennas on both sides here. Hopefully the antenna will be able to reach where the M.2 4G cell card is that I'm installing, and that will give me a good enough signal, because it'll go through plastic, Um, Especially when I replace this back cover here to be completely metal. So that'll be, I think, something interesting. I really love the fact that this is completely open source, even with the little minor issues I'm dealing with, because by virtue of the fact that this is open source, we actually can collaborate together to find how to improve this laptop instead of depend on the vendor to do everything. Um, so it's been a nice little tinker project as well, and I love the laptop overall. It's been really lightweight to, bring up during uh, my little my videos and stuff. You've probably been seeing me pop it up more because it's nice to just have a little device here and then read the screen off like you can do on a phone, but I feel like this just gives a little bit more eye popping. What is that device? This is the MNT Pocket Reform. This is a fully open source laptop with a fully mechanical keyboard and everything. I backed that project about a year and a half ago. You heard about the SAVE Act? It's going to bar women from voting. Is that the one where it was going to require you to present your birth certificate or something like that and have you go by your name at birth? Which will be interesting because here's the thing: it doesn't just, if I'm understanding this correctly, it didn't just bar married women from voting because they changed their name. It would bar many people that changed their name. Like I was looking into, for example, changing my last name to the original spelling my family came into this country with. Would just that change bar me from voting? That's a little bit upsetting and concerning. And it's really dumb that they're doing all these laws with the intention of like trying to go after um trans people or whatever. Like, who the hell fucking cares? I have a theory that anyone who is so focused on trans people and gay people is just severely in the closet. When you're done with it, I'd appreciate to learn from it. Wait, what? Learn from what? Use a small recorder for HD quality that can record for up to 3 hours. The DJI microphone that I'm playing with, these apparently have like 8 gigabytes of onboard storage from when I was playing with them. So you can actually record to them without being connected to any device, just for audio. They're a nice little yeah, like this can hold up to 15 hours of battery life on each one. And you can plug a headphone, you can output the audio in as well as through USB. And it's also got lightning connectors. These are nice little microphones, although they are on the more expensive side. Yep. These are, I really have been digging DJI's entire little ecosystem of lines and everything. Also, I'm in the middle of studying for my ham license, and I'm also studying for my FAA pilot's license. Not just to be a private pilot, but also you need it for commercial drone operation. And if I plan to do any drone footage, even for a YouTube video, I have to get an FAA license. And I know some of you out there like, just do it anyway. Like, no. There are 2 organizations that I do not want to mess with and get in trouble with, and that's the FAA and the FCC. Have you become a meme? No, I take care of my dogs, unlike Elon, how he ignores his well, the dogs are the closest I can, say to children. Unlike Elon, who while his mother is freaking out and can't get a hold of him, not his mother, but the mother of his child, he's out there calling himself a meme. Elon will fire FCC and FAA. Nah, he can try, but here's the thing. How short-term they're thinking. Donald Trump isn't going to be in power forever. Saw the video of Musk leaving his human shield of his son behind. Elon doesn't seem to care about his kids. And I'm not just saying that. There's something you can tell about people and the way they treat their kids and everything. And Elon, I don't think he cares about his kids as much as, like, a parent should. The FCC won't let me be. They try to shut me down on MTV. What's up, Hans? Which distro is your daily driver? I use Pop! OS primarily for my daily driver. Cubes OS is what I also use, but I'm a big fan of Debian. Debian type Linuxes and stuff like that. Like this little MNT Pocket Reform is running straight Debian. And then Cubes OS, mostly with Debian. But yeah, I've been loving this little guy here. This little laptop is amazing. I just got to work through a couple of smaller problems, but I think it's going to be a great little script and, you know, terminal devices. Like, when I bring a laptop out, especially when I'm traveling, I just need light things. Like, put some movies on this, write some documents. Keith Lee is reviewing different British restaurants and food spots. Bro, Keith Lee is going to be demolishing a lot of these British restaurants, because, like, okay, so my aunt was British. One of my ex-girlfriends was British. They really don't grasp the fact that British food sucks. Like, I would straight up be that asshole that goes to Gordon Ramsay's face and say, bro, where are all the herbs and spices? Like, where's the flavor, bitch? Like, I've been to Gordon Ramsay's restaurants. Like, he's had some in Vegas and all that, and they're like, ugh, it's overpriced garbage. Like, give me a hole-in-the-wall Ethiopian, Somali, Nigerian restaurant, Moroccan, you know. Give me something with, like, African flavors or Indian, you know, flavors or, you know, a good, you know, proper Asian restaurant. Catch is, it's not British food. Yeah, like, all the good British restaurants aren't British. Man went to find Caribbean place. See, that's what I would do. Like, I love Portuguese food. Portuguese, loved it. Goat chanfana is one of my all-time favorite dishes. Like, Yitz made a goat stew the other night. We got some goat chops and everything. I love goat. Have you gotten your Doge stimulus check yet? I've been seeing people on TikTok say they got it today. That's bullshit. There's no Doge stimulus check. I've been hearing people talk about it, but there's no Doge stimulus check coming as of right now, and I would be very weary of any money coming. Don't get me wrong. If money comes my way, I will gladly take that money. But at the same time, I'm not trusting it. Brits have sugar tax. The Brits have a TV tax. I really am impressed with this camera. So right now I got a 512 gigabyte micro SD card in there. I do have the extension handle in there for additional battery life. I got the DJI mic too. Thank you for the follow, Lilith. Yeah, people say they got it and gave it to China. I don't know. I don't know. Like, if I happen to get a check, I will tell y'all. And what I will be doing with that check is buying more tech hardware. No joke. I do need... Look, if I get that money, part of it's going to go into my high-yield savings account for my emergency fund, and a good chunk of it will go into probably getting a Fairphone. I do want to review a Fairphone. I do want to review the Nothing phone. The issue is, I can't justify buying another device as of right now. Some people say they got 25K. I'll believe that when me shit turns purple and tastes like rainbow sherbet. I think a lot of people are saying shit just for, clicks and everything. Because you gotta remember, a lot of people out there will bullshit you. Spent the last 2 days trying to get Starfield running on my Fedora install. Fixed it by installing Nobara instead. Well, Fedora's got its own issues, but I didn't have issues when I tried playing it just a little bit on my Pop OS box. Is that bad that I switched to Windows from Arch after 10 years? You don't need Arch. Why do y'all... all the people that just go straight to Arch are doing it just because they want to feel like they're more elite, but in reality, you're about as basic of a bitch as any vegan that walks into a restaurant. I'm just saying, Arch users are the CrossFit vegans of the Linux world. The rest of us are just saying, yeah, I use Linux, and then leave it at that. Arch users are the only ones going, I use Arch. I was using Linux since 2006, then I went to Arch. I've used Arch. It's just broken on me for so many different things that, I don't care for it. So. There are no checks, and there shouldn't be checks, because that just tells me all this cut and debt BS is... yeah. Well, it's the same thing as when, What's-His-Face wanted to do the, whatchamacallit, stimulus checks, and Donald Trump had to make sure his name was on the checks. Well, that's interesting. The battery on my MNT Pocket Reform is saying 41% now. That's the highest I've seen this. I still think the batteries have issues. Yeah, so my problem is that before character creation, there's that mining thing, and then it would just freeze up. Couldn't figure out why. It runs great now, though. I don't know. I know that Pop OS at least does a little bit more qualifications and validations before putting out drivers and stuff to the public. I just got my stimulus check from Nigerian Prince in my mail today. You use damn small Linux. And I haven't used damn small Linux in a while, except for the meme. That was right up there with, Bieber Linux and Hannah Montana Linux. They're rather Debian, simple to understand. See, that's why I like Debian. Debian's really straightforward to understand for a lot of the things that, I need to do and everything. Maybe a lot of that's because I grew up with Debian. It got an update in 2024. Huh. What? See, they need to update all the meme Linuxes, because we're now at the point where Hannah Montana Linux and Bieber Linux and a few others just can't run on a lot of the modern hardware that you need to boot it up in a virtual machine. And I used to love the ability to mess with my friends, so a lot of people don't know this. But do you remember the compact flash solid-state memory I used to install on computers? Well, a lot of people don't know that that was actually IDE. So what you used to be able to do, and I used to mess with friends like this, is get a compact flash to IDE adapter. And most people would only use that first connection on their IDE cable. So if you had the second one open, you could plug the compact flash in. Well, I would flip the cards around and then just have it so that the compact flash would always boot. And I would literally have people at work booting into Hannah Montana Linux and couldn't figure out why, and it was just a hilarious meme. Because, like, it was inside your computer, so you didn't have, like, it wasn't like a flash drive, so it wasn't, like, sticking out. You had to open up your computer and then see somebody had installed the compact flash to IDE adapter, and that was why Hannah Montana Linux was booting all the time. Pranks were so great back then. Thoughts on Armbian? I've used Armbian as well on a few other, not Raspberry Pis, but the, Odroids, the, Pine 64s, things like that, because I would like to get straight Debian. Raspberry Pi had their own, Raspbian, which they renamed Raspberry Pi OS, but you had to get Armbian for some of the other, devices out there. I wonder if Justin Bieber and Miley Cyrus are aware of the fact that they had Linux distributions and that they were memed. I wonder if anyone actually has let them know, or even if they understand what that is. I think that'd be hilarious. Just run up to, like, Miley Cyrus and Justin Bieber on the red carpet and be like, did you know that you are a distribution of Linux? And, like, open up a tiny little netbook in front of them and just show them that. Like, I think that'd be, like, hilarious for two reasons. One, it's got, like, such old versions of their photos and, just, like, probably would shock them to, like, see themselves as a kid and, like, they were a meme, like, when they were this young. And two, to, like, understand just how nerdy some people could be. We need other options too, like FreeBSD and Haiku. See, the problem is with FreeBSD and Haiku is they're already niched down that they kind of are memes in and of themselves. Not really FreeBSD as much as Haiku. It's unfortunate because Haiku was actually really interesting, that it was based off of, what was it, BOS? BOS was really ahead of its time. And then FreeBSD, well, the interesting thing about BSDs was if it was not for the 1-800-ITS Unix fiasco, BSDs would be the predominant, more open sourcey Unix OS we would be using. BSDs were overtaking Linux for years. But what happened was in the 1990s, they had a hotline, 1-800-ITS Unix, to, like, I guess, help people learn about how to switch to FreeBSDs and stuff like that. Well, Unix is a trademark of AT&T, so AT&T had sued them because of the 1-800-ITS Unix fiasco. And that sole thing is what tied up that whole entire branch of software for years in litigation. It should be done. Bill Gates had a cake thrown in his face back in 1998. Well, I think a lot of people don't realize how much of an asshole Bill Gates was. Like, Steve Ballmer may have called the Linux community cancer, but apparently, Bill Gates was known as a big bully in, Silicon Valley, to the point that he would, chew out journalists that happen to be giving him a negative view. Like, he kind of was like a little bit of a bully to anyone that, like, didn't really play ball with him. He only toned down in his later years, especially when he ate his slice of humble pie, because he got pushed out of Microsoft by the Department of Justice for antitrust practices. Oh, Gates was a major asshole. People don't realize how much of an asshole Steve Jobs was, just as much as Bill Gates. Steve Wozniak is apparently a frickin', saint. He is, like the real cool hippy-dippy kind of, tech dude. Like, Out of everyone in Silicon Valley, when it comes to tech, I'd love to, like, have a beer with Steve Wozniak. Steve Wozniak seems like a chill dude to hang out with. Like, I feel like I could, vibe with Steve Woz. The Woz. Although, like, have you seen the hilarious stories of, like, he walks into the Apple store and nobody knows who he is? And, like, people don't believe that his Apple ID is real? Because he's like, I was an Apple employee. You want to hear my employee number? It's 1. Jobs died from cancer, if I recall. Yeah, Steve Jobs was an absolute jerk. Steve Wozniak was a freaking teddy bear of a sweetheart, and, like, I've never heard of anyone have a negative sentiment to the Woz. You know what? Steve Wozniak blew most of his money on a music festival. Dude could have still been alive today if he actually did procedures to treat his colon cancer. Yeah, he was kind of an asshole. And I have to say, Steve Jobs wasn't really the big driver between the revolutionizing force that Apple was. I think that was Steve Wozniak. And I'd say Johnny Ives. Steve Jobs definitely, I would say, had a good amount of influence to keeping the Apple vision alive that made Apple strong, but I'd say Wozniak was probably the bigger brains behind it. Jobs didn't take showers for 20-ish years. I don't know if I believe that part, but we'll see. He also never licensed any of his, Rolls Royces? Who? What? I don't know what you mean by that. But yeah. The thing that I love about this little MNT pocket reform, which I'll be getting back to the Apple discussion here in a minute, was reading through the schematics on this. I haven't seen a computer that was as open-ended as this was in many years. Like, reading through the schematics here, where you could see, the electrical diagrams of how they designed it, and the mock-ups of the board and everything with the documentation, this felt very similar to the spirit of Apple. For those of you that don't know, when you got your Apple computers, you used to get the schematics and everything. Like, you got to actually learn about the computer and a lot of how it worked and everything like that. And I think we've lost a lot of that way, which I really feel sorry in a way for this generation of people that are coming into tech. Because there's so many layers of abstraction now that kids don't often understand how a computer works. They just know what a computer is, know that it works, and they expect it to work. They don't know how it works or anything like that. So it's cool, but upsetting at the same time. Does Apple develop Mac OS, iOS? I've heard that there's a third-party company that has a license of Mac OS and iOS. They do the actual dev work. Apple does the dev work and everything like that. They may have contractors like every other company does for certain parts of work, but it is Apple. Spirit of Commodore. Yeah. Like, he never decided to put his license plates on his Rolls Royce and replace them every 6 months, if I remember it well. Oh, I don't know about that. Can't speak to that. Yeah, I can't wait to get the batteries working on this. But overall, I still like this laptop, even if it's kind of tethered to my desk at the moment. We'll figure it out eventually. I didn't get around to opening up the laptop tonight to replace the thermal pads to see if that'll fix it. I was going to do that later this week. But I at least enjoy bringing this little guy out to do my little news stories and things like that. I think it, gives me a little bit more of presentation and appearance when I have this out. I've noticed in several videos that I've so far popped this guy out. People are like, "What is that in your hand?" The funniest thing is you have people that are like, "This dude has never heard of a tablet." And I'm like, "You've never actually tried using a tablet for proper work." Alright. But yeah, it was funny when you had a lot of people in my comments be like, "Well, dude's never heard of an iPad." You can't use an iPad for a lot of the stuff I use. You can't do a tablet's not super enjoyable for a lot of the things I do. Plus, I like having a mechanical keyboard. It is, I will say, having used this for a few days now, it is a little bit different typing on this, but it's still a very satisfying experience compared to, say, working on a phone or a tablet. I've tried so hard to use an iPad Pro for meetings and notes, and it's just not fun. And that's what a lot of people don't understand, is if you have like a full-on keyboard, thank you for the follow, Yanni. If you have a full-on keyboard and mouse, translating to a tablet is very annoying. And Apple tablets are they're just not, they don't work well for a lot of like creative tasks outside of like doing some art drawings and stuff like that. Whereas this, I can, easily turn it on in a couple seconds. I can have my cell modem or my regular, Wi-Fi. I can do little, network scans. I can do a lot of the work I normally can't do with an iPod. This is great. Apple licensed the iOS trademark from Cisco. Well, that's because Cisco has iOS too. But Cisco iOS is totally different than Apple iOS. And the honest truth is, that's because they were dumb and wanted to stick on the whole I branding. They didn't need to call it iOS. I could have just called it Apple OS or something like that, but yeah. It also looks really cool. Yeah, I love this. What is the largest scam you've ever pulled off? You don't scam. The hell kind of question is that? As an attorney, I will advise my client not to answer. Yeah, I don't scam people. I do ethical hacking and mess with people. Those are two different things. Also, we just hit 1420. Smoke them if you got them over on Twitch. 733 megahertz, 64 RAM, 20 gigabyte storage, living the dream. Man, you laugh, but that was kind of the specs of my IBM X20 I first had as a laptop. Those are great laptops. I miss when IBM actually made laptops. Don't get me wrong, Lenovo I think is still done pretty good by the name, but IBM, there was just something about IBM. Yeah, it also looks really cool. Yeah, I really think this does look cool. And there's something about pulling this out at a cafe or in the middle of an airport and doing your work that just kind of makes you feel a little bit more special. I don't know how else to put it. This makes me feel like the so do you remember in the movie Hackers? Risk architecture is gonna change the world. This is what it makes me feel like. Does IBM still make any form of PC? I think IBM's only really in the supercomputer space. They still make CPUs and like various odds and ends of components and stuff like that. But in terms of the personal computing space, IBM's not in it anymore. They sold that all off to Lenovo. Um, yeah, I think they're all on the supercomputer space. Let's check that out. Hold on. IBM supercomputer. I think they're still in that whole space. Yep, they're still they're still working on it. Like, they make them for the United States Department of Energy and a few others. They're still pushing out Power 9 CPUs. So yeah, IBM is in the supercomputer space. Now, have you ever dealt with anyone who actually does supercomputer deployments and everything? I got to meet a couple of people that their job is in deploying supercomputers, and that's a fascinating job, and just everything that goes into building it, and the considerations of like when they want to bring in a supercomputer, it's down to what floor do you want it on, because we need to crane this bitch in, like it's it's really intense what they have to do. Does IBM have their own cloud services? I think IBM still does have their own cloud services. IBM's not really a company that any average person deals with on a day-to-day basis. They're strictly in the corporate business side of world. It's really interesting how they've managed to do that. Is there a wrist mount for that laptop? Is the perfect size as a wrist computer like the sci-fi movies? I mean, you could easily make one. There's nothing stopping you. The entire schematics are open source, so you could actually, do that if you wanted to. Like, I know these schematics are open source from when I was looking at, my aluminum plate upgrade for the improved thermals. So, let me show you what I was talking about. Let's go to GitHub. So, I was on the MNT community forum. Hold on. It is in my stars. I keep hearing people talk about Microsoft making a new element. I don't think they made a new element. I think they just made a new CPU. I forget what they call it. Begins with an M. Okay. So this is the MNT reform. So as you can see, they got a purple one in the same, way. And that's the top plate I was talking about. So they made a new one. These are just the technical drawings. So that's the beauty of this being open sourced. One could grab their source files. Do they have it here? 1 second. I know I came across them the other day. iFixit repair guide. They have their GitLab with all of their stuff. But yeah, it's totally doable. If you want, you could even get the bottom plate redesigned and send it out to like have a metal like wrist brace made. I mean, it'll probably cost you about $100 or so to get it machined, but you can do it. My wife worked for a place that bragged we have an IBM mainframe in 2021. Yeah, there's a lot of places that still use mainframes for rapid computing and processing. I think where I work at, we have a mainframe as well. I haven't had to deal with it, but I wouldn't be surprised if we have one based on some of the stuff we have to do at work. What's up, Joe? Could be your primitive Pip-Boy wrist computer. I don't know. Pip-Boy would be the primitive one, because that was what? Retro steampunk kind of thing from the 1950s? In theory, Microsoft just found a way to make qubits more stable. That's it. No, it's not a new element. Yeah, that's what I've heard. is they found a way to just make qubits more stable in a CPU package that is more easily producible. We're still a few years off from where it's actually going to have some meaningful impacts, but it's on the way. What's the laptop called again? This is the MNT Pocket Reform. MNT is the company, and they're a fully open source company. Like, they don't have social media anywhere but Mastodon. That was the only social media presence I've seen on them. But they have a really nice reputation amongst the people that know of them. And it's so right to repair friendly. I've been taking this whole thing apart and putting it back together just so I can better understand it and look at where all the nooks and crannies and gaps are that I can possibly sandwich some more devices into it. Once I get the battery, then I'm gonna make sure the battery charges and balances. Then I'm gonna work on the Wi-Fi issues. Then I'm gonna work on the improved thermals. And I know that MNT is working on an RK3588 package that has a Wi-Fi chip built in. So that will be my eventual upgrade, because I would like to upgrade this from the IMX8M Plus, which is a 4-core ARM CPU, which is mid-range performance with 8 gigabytes of RAM, to possibly a 32 gigabyte RAM version with the RK3588 CPU, which is a beast of a CPU. Are there RISC computers available? I've seen there was some talk about RISC computers for a while, so I do know there were a few people when I was at DEF CON that made some cyber decks that were RISC computers. Of course, those are people making their own. A lot of them were powered by Raspberry Pis, Pine 64s, things like that. A lot of them are DIY approaches. It's doable. They exist out there. They're just not that common of a format to be sold en masse, so I wouldn't expect a RISC computer to be the kind of device that you can just go out and buy and there's my RISC computer. It's probably a situation of, I've made a RISC computer from these components and 3D printed these parts. Make sense? The rest of their system were Vista. What? What do you think about new Elder Scrolls? I don't think they released the new Elder Scrolls, did they? But I've been waiting for Elder Scrolls 6. Did they? I know they had an announcement or something like that. Oh, so they... Okay, there's a gameplay leak. Apparently they're gonna be in Hammerfell. Interesting. Sounds like we'll be able to explore multiple regions. On top of that, we'll be able to build and customize our own ships and have naval battles. Underwater exploration and various smaller islands were also teased. See, what I would honestly like to see is, and I know this would be maybe a little bit too large, if we could travel all across Tamriel. But I also think if the game ends up being too big, they'd probably Starfield it, and there would just be too much emptiness. Because I already feel like with Elder Scrolls 3, 4, and 5, I had to add a mod that would make the towns more lively. It just feels like there could be more in there. Like, Grand Theft Auto at least does a decent way of making the city a little bit more lively. I know, but people keep saying new element, it's annoying. Well, people are fucking idiots, okay? What do you want? Move from TikTok to Twitch because it's a better platform, in opinion. Yeah, it's a better platform for streaming and everything like that. I definitely will agree with that. TikTok is just a platform where my audience is largest, but I definitely am shifting more towards the YouTube and Twitch sort of ways. Which, by the way, when I start making content again on YouTube and everything, I will be using this little gimbal camera here, the DJI Pocket 3, and I also got the webcam that I'll be plugging in. Not webcam, it's a mirrorless camera, the Sony ZV-E10. So yeah, can't wait to get that set up. I just gotta sit down. I might take a PTO from work so I can take one day off and just set up my camera, or I may just set that up Saturday. You see the weapons that people were using in Helldivers? I haven't played Helldivers in a minute. I should. It's been a while. I did enjoy that game. But I know a lot of people stopped playing because of the Sony BS of, they were requiring everyone to have a PlayStation account. Have you considered any form of smart glasses? If I used to actually have the, Microsoft HoloLens when it was in a dev kit with the wires and everything. The HoloLens was actually really promising. I think AR definitely is the better way of doing things compared to VR. I think Google Lens was an interesting concept, but it was way too ahead of its time, so it never really took off. Plus the fact that it's Google, and Google is the enemy of Google products because they mothball products before they actually really get any proper traction. But now I haven't really looked at any, like, would I use them? There's always the issue of, do they actually add value to my life every day? That's the issue that I have. Did you happen to have a 3D printer? If so, which one? I have Prusa Mark 3S's. I haven't updated them yet, but those are the ones I use. I like Prusa a little bit more because they're fully open sourced. I'll eventually want to get that Prusa Core XY printer, but I haven't had a need to really update. I modified my Prusa Mark 3s so deep that they work pretty well as is. I gotta clean out the clog on one of them, and then the other one's still running. I just gotta replace the belts on it. These cameras, I'm rocking a Canon Rebel 2000 film. Yeah, I mean, I was looking for a little bit of an upgrade because right now I'm using the OBS Tiny 2, which it's a great little webcam for what it is. But I feel like when I'm doing content creation, I could do a little bit better, as well as the fact that I got the Elgato teleprompter I'm going to be pairing it with, because there's times when I feel like I want to script what I'm saying in some of the content a little bit better. And I didn't like when I tested out recording that I could easily tell my eyes were reading something else, and it just felt a little bit unnatural when watching the video back. So, that's one thing I'm hoping to do. They were a little bit expensive, I'll be honest. But it'll be interesting. Thank you for the follow, Null Zero. What's your take on the Russian phishing attack on Signal? I mean, people are going to try doing phishing attacks on all sorts of platforms. It's nothing really new. People were doing it on WhatsApp. People have been doing it on Facebook Messenger. I mean, people even try to phish on TikTok using my profile. There's so many imposter profiles I've reported to TikTok, and they don't do anything about it, that are trying to get people to invest in bullshit deals. Which, by the way, let me get this out of the way. I will never reach out to you directly to invest or ask money or anything like that. So, if anybody, with my profile that, suddenly hits you up or something like that, you have permission to troll the fuck out of them. Just putting that out there. And by any means, feel free to share the screenshots of you messing with them. We enjoy that shit. They were using handheld shovels to kill the bugs. Yeah, I heard they were doing some fun things like that. TikTok just asked if this live was appropriate for TikTok. I said yes, and that's educational. Oh. By the way, what's up, Jacob? I think the issue with Google Glass was that everyone assumed you were recording them all the time when it wouldn't actually do that. Well, that's the problem with all of these different smart glasses and everything like that. Google Glass, I think, had the really interesting approach of when you were in the field. I really like the idea of imagine you're a pipe worker. You could look at the problem going on, send video of what's going on to your supervisor, and then could look up in a database, in videos to help you figure out how to do this issue, or at least send it to your boss. And everything. It's like, imagine it would be a lot more handy to work with Google Glass when you need both hands. Okay, so imagine you could do an eye movement or something as a macro. While your hands are there, you could tell it to record a video and then send it to your supervisor. Because there's many situations I can think of when I was on the ladder and I needed both of my hands, and I'd have to do the weird, reach around of, holding myself in the ladder while holding the phone to get what I need to do the picture of. And I could think of a lot of situations where I have two hands and only two hands, but I feel like I need a third arm. And I think that's where Google Glass and all them really can help out. I don't appreciate the Meta version of it, though. Meta definitely, there's just something about Meta, I can't trust anything about how they go about doing things. Google can be hit or miss. Still don't trust Google entirely either. Make that clear. What smartwatch do you personally use if you use them? I'm a bit of a basic bitch, and I have the Apple smartwatch. I have the Apple Watch, what is it, the Series 9. Part of it is I was having health issues, and we thought it was something going on with my heart and everything, so it had the sensors and all of that, and the Apple ecosystem just works a little bit better with collecting health records and a bunch of other things, so it's not like, and I know some people will say, Pixel watches, things like that. It's one of those, like, I was just discussing with my doctor about what would be the best solution, and yeah, it made the most sense for everything going on with me to track my health metrics and all of that, to be in the Apple ecosystem when I was weighing everything. I was considering Prusa, but I want an enclosure, so I just went with Creality. They are at least nice that you get root access from one menu and has full clipper support. You can make your own enclosure. I made my own enclosures. There's some older videos, but I basically took IKEA tables, an acrylic setup, and then I built the 3D printers into the enclosure, and I even have concrete slabs that they sit on top of and 3D printed bracers. So, like, my enclosures are really nice, and I even have them with an LED strip pulling power off of the 3D printer, so when the printer's on, it gives light. Now I am looking at the Prusa Core XY, which does have its own enclosure and all that too, but these have held up for 3-4 years now. It's not going too bad, just, yeah. It's been a weird day. I went grocery shopping, and I've just had, you ever have one of those days where you wake up and you feel like you just haven't slept enough? They tried to scam me 3 times and even more in TikTok. What, the fake me's that, are impersonating me to try to get your money? Do you think Elon and Trump consummated marriage? Well, if they didn't consummate with each other, they definitely are fucking over everyone in America. Given the test card numbers, it will go through on a lot of systems, charging the scammer 1 can't each time. AEO has been working with some kind of new transparent glass. Hope they can incorporate it well. That's an interesting use case with glass. I didn't know it had a kind of eye track. Yeah, Google Glass was very ahead of its time. It's a shame that they mothballed it when they did. It was one of the few projects that Google made that I was like, wow, this is This has some serious promise out there. I hope they don't kill it, and they did. Because I think Google Glass, in terms of all of the AR type systems out there, was probably one of the nicest and most refined system. Um, Unfortunately, Google, I think, the problem with Google is they are too divided amongst too many different project ideas that they don't really focus enough resources on things that are worthwhile. I mean, Google has had the problem where they have had redundant projects at, like, you look into like the Google graveyard, you'll find there's a lot of projects that were really just redundant copies of other projects. Like, Google doesn't even seem to be aware of a lot of the projects that Google has going on in their own backyard. And I think that's one of the problems with Google is they do need to take proper inventory and assessment of everything going on in their company. Because they also get themselves into quite a few messes that takes them years to clean up. For example, Android. Android itself is in a huge mess for the past several years because instead of taking the Linux kernel and just, working off of the mainline kernel, they forked the entire Linux kernel just for Android. And years later, they're still having to backport and, merge other code from the mainline into it. And they're trying to get back into mainline because they split too far away from it. And they're realizing it was a duplication of a lot of work that was already going on in the main kernel for Linux. So that's just one example of things. There's no one to trust since big tech is in Elonia's pocket right now. Yeah, that's why I've been urging a lot of people to open source and everything, which, by the way, I found it absolutely hilarious that one of my most popular videos recently was I took. There's been a trend I noticed with a few European creators that were talking about how, Europeans and Canadians are going to boycott American products. I merely took that trend they were talking about, and all I did was piggyback onto it, talking about open source and de-Googling phones. Now, I have the analytics to back this up. The majority of people didn't even watch the video longer than 10 seconds before they made a comment. And they completely missed the entire point of the video. So the honest truth is, I'm still seeing comments pouring in, and I'm still just laughing and just commenting, replying to them like, you definitely watched, you didn't watch more than 10 seconds before commenting. You didn't watch more than 5 seconds before commenting. Something like that. It's absolutely amazing, and it's no wonder there's such frustration over people making anything educational or that on TikTok, because the average person isn't watching a lot of the content longer than 5 or 10 seconds. Which makes me wonder, how the hell do y'all know what the content is? Are you literally just like watching 5 seconds and then scroll, watching 5 seconds then comment? Not the new Pebble watch. It's open source now. No, so Pebble doesn't have a new watch. Pebble just released parts of the source code that still has to be modified because it's not the full code. They released parts of it, people would still have to rework that. Cubes or Tails? I prefer Cubes OS. Have you seen the Deeper Hardburger VPN on the guys I work with gave me on? Deeper Hard... What do you mean deeper hardware? I'm a little confused by that. Fair enough, I get all those days. Yeah. Is the Prushiev quick? I just realized that I'm so bad at CAD. It's It was quick for when I got it. Remember, it's a few years old. The new Core XYs apparently work much faster. They're not as fast as, like, say, the Bamboos, but they're completely open source. So you're not going to get dicked over like Bamboo just did recently, where they cut off support for a few third-party plugins and everything. I prefer a more open-sourced workflow whenever possible for all of my things. Because I don't like companies coming in and then telling me I can't do things the way that I want to do things with my own damn hardware and software. Would be sick to have an interactive motion screen like an Iron Man. Be interesting. Yeah, I think that Google doesn't see billions they let go because they're doing so well, unlike Meta. Well, Google's starting to feel the pain. Google is facing the actual pressure that Google may have to be broken up. The reality is that Google, most of their income is drawn in by ads and analytics and data that they're collecting. And the number one way they do a lot of this is the Google Chrome browser, and by consequence, Microsoft Edge and stuff like that, that sends data to Google. And, of course, the Android operating system itself. If Google's forced to be broken up, where the browser is a whole other thing, that could really upend a lot of Google's power. And I think that's why they've also, just within the past 2 or 3 years, been working really hard to try to consolidate a lot of their work and make sense of what's going on. Because the golden goose of Google might be coming to an end. This is just my speculation. But the wagons are circling. People are lazy. If they, if not clickbait, then they're gone. Yeah, and the funny thing is, I hooked them in with my video that it was definitely, like, trying to bait them in for a conversation, but they just stuck around for the clickbait and didn't even listen to the rest of the video before they commented. I like watching 5 seconds before I watch 5 seconds, and then I watch 5 more. So, like, the funny thing is, like, I like to watch a video, and if you ever catch a lot of my comments, it's usually after I watch a video. And if I make a comment before a video, it's usually like, oh boy, here we go. You know, like that, and then you might see a comment below it about, okay, we watched the video of that. Like, the financial audit is a good example with Caleb Hammer. Normally it's like, oh boy, we just started in this way. This is going to be a great episode. But I think the worst I've left is, like, there's been a few TikToks that are genuinely just so long. Like, there was one video where, I left a comment that was like, you said this would take only 30 seconds, but here I've been 5 minutes in. Exactly like, what a dumb, yeah, pretty much. Why are they all Yahtzee saluting and no one bats an eye? I don't know. Everyone's just blind right now. VPN personal. Already not anymore. That doesn't look like a machine. Brand is deeper. They make a line of hardware VPNs. There's a crypto element, but I have a deeper Pico that is nice and portable. I'll have to look into that. It just sounds like making your own VPN with extra steps. Google search keeps getting worse. Well, that's nothing new. It's been getting worse and worse for years. What would you say the next best networking course is? The best networking course is grabbing PF Sense, reading their manual, and tinkering with it in your own home lab. That's how I learned it. That's how I learned a lot of my networking concepts. Seriously, the PF Sense manual and PF Sense firewall is so underrated for education. BTW, what browser would you recommend for iOS? I was a Firefox boy until yesterday and I looked. The honest truth is, when it comes to iOS, Apple has a lot of that locked down so much, it doesn't really matter what browser you're using on iOS. Because they're all basically excuse me, more or less based on WebKit. So on iOS, I still use the basic Safari browser. Of course, there's iCloud Plus Private Relay that a lot of it's running over to anonymize some things. But yeah, if I'm on my iPhone, there's not really much I'm doing to, keep myself more protected, because I barely use my iPhone for more than an iPhone things. Like, I don't do much on my phones. I'm a basic bitch. If you ever look through my Siri commands on my iPhone, it's play music, stop music, next track, look up artist. Okay, your favorite. Intel DNS for queries are resolved, and I was injecting random DNS servers. They're run by mass analytic companies. I don't know about that with the Firefox one, because, well, it's not really DNS. It's just every browser has their deals with different analytics being captured. But yeah, as far as like on an iPhone, Safari's enough. It sucks, but it is what it is. Google felt the real threat with OpenAI, and especially dabbling in search. Well, yeah, Google got a little bit too complacent in their size to understand how to innovate. And I think that is one of the Achilles heels of a lot of American tech companies, is they did not realize China was as advanced as they are. Like DeepSeek. DeepSeek threatened them immensely because by cutting off China, they thought that they would kill their competition by letting them not have access, but didn't realize China was further along than they had anticipated. And in fact, because they ignored China so much, they let them develop basically in the shadows of what the U.S. tech market was seeing, that it came out of left field and just spooked a lot of the American tech sector, because they suddenly were like, this isn't correct, but this is the perception. You need to understand. What do you mean those rice farmers made an AI that's a little bit better than ours and costs a lot less and didn't take billions of dollars and didn't need the highest-end NVIDIA chips? That's kind of the sentiment that a lot of the tech community had around China, that didn't understand how advanced China is. That's at least my perspective on things. Trump will succeed to take over the gov. No, I don't think he will. Trump's trying, but you also see right now Trump's failing. See, the reality is he's a wannabe dictator, but he's not as smart as the dictators he's trying to emulate. Let me explain. Funny Mustache Man from Germany. He was an average man that was a soldier that understood the plight, the suffering the average man and worker was having. Let's during the whole Nazi regime, the original motto, more or less, was bread and work. Okay? Elon Musk and Donald Trump are two rich assholes that have never had to sacrifice nor suffer for anything. They don't know what the average person wants. They don't know what the average person thinks. And compared to Donnie Boy, Funny Mustache Man that wiped out 6 family names of, my mother's side and everything like that, he was actually smart. Evil. Let me make that very clear. He was evil, but he was smart. He knew to surround himself not just with people that were loyal to his cause, but were competent. So, yeah, the reality is, like, you see what's going on with Donald Trump. A lot of it is incompetence. And this is why I tell people all the time, do not assign to malice what can adequately be explained through incompetence. I will tell you that as a professional in cybersecurity, don't go assuming everything going on is intentionally malicious. The majority of shit we see in cybersecurity isn't because someone is doing something malicious. It's because they're a fucking moron. That's the honest truth. What, you think the average person clicks the link because they want to intentionally infect an entire network? No, because they click the link because they're a dumbass. So that is the thing you need to understand. And you can see this play out over and over and over again with Elon Musk and Donald Trump. They are favoring loyalty over competency. There is no person in their right mind that would have hired the one software person that went by Big Balls. You know, the guy that got fired from his last job because he was leaking corporate trade secrets. I'm sorry, but that is an immediate red flag that anyone would be looking at for any job and say, sorry, you are not qualified to work here. You got fired for trading corporate secrets, and you should be in jail. No ifs, ands, or buts about that. Heard Big Ball's grandpa was part of the KGB. I've heard that too. There's so much stuff going on. Master's degree in Cybersec, Sec Plus, Systems, CRISC. Hard to find a job. Any recommendations? You know what I don't hear? What's your experience? I see a lot of papers and fancy letters being mentioned there. And I'm not saying this to be an asshole. J-Rock, I'm not saying this to be an asshole. I'm asking you as a person that only has one cert and no college degree in cybersecurity, but has been in the field for many years. What have you done in the field? Because here's the reality. If you don't have field experience, you're worthless. I don't care how many pieces of paper you have. What do you do in your free time to tinker? To educate yourself a little bit more. The education doesn't stop outside of the classroom. I mean, stop once you leave the classroom. You gotta keep working on it past your 9 to 5, 8 to 5, whatever you're working. And I think that's the one thing everyone overlooks is, what's your experience? Do you document the tinkering that you're doing and everything, with whether it be a home lab, stuff like that, with a blog? Do you have a GitHub with all your, code that you're tinkering with to show off that you do commits and, working on things outside of work? So that's what I would honestly ask is, what are you doing outside of these certs and the degree and everything? Because those, and I'm saying this as someone, no degree in this field. My only cert is CISSP. What experience do you have? And if you're not able to get callbacks, well, then either you don't have enough experience put down, or your resume looks like shit and you need to deal with a professional resume crafter. I had to do that too before I got my job. That's just how it is. If I use Doku and iOS, don't know what that is. Totally got you, but since the UK government banned ADP, I need to switch 180 quick. Yeah, the ADP is completely different. So ADP, really, you can just change your region to get it set up, but the honest truth is, if you're that worried about it, you're going to want to move away from iOS as a whole and roll your own backup and everything. Graphene OS lets you do a lot of that stuff, but you're going to need a Pixel phone for that. There's a few other solutions out there. How long does Musk have before they try to get rid of him? They're basically already trying to get rid of him now. Did you not see that the White House has basically just said that Elon Musk is not the head of Doge or anything? They're trying to walk back so much right now because they realize legally they are in a rough spot. I'm curious what you think about Deeper. It's been out a few years and there's some elements I don't understand. Deeper VPN. Let me see. Deeper VPN. Oh, Jesus. Please don't tell me this is another cryptocurrency bullshit idea. Is this what you're talking about? I hate a lot of this shit when it comes to Web 3.0 because a lot of this feels like a grift. So you buy this $200 little device here or whatever. And then what? This doesn't make sense to me. So it's a decentralized VPN that you... This feels kind of grifty to me. I'm just being honest. It does. It really, like... There's just, like, something with my bullshit meter that's going off. Okay. So basically, you're contributing bandwidth of your own stuff. Yeah, this feels like another, like, Web 3.0 grift with cryptocurrency. This is the thing I hate about cryptocurrency, and I don't say this because I hate cryptocurrency. I actually like the idea of cryptocurrency. But it feels like everyone and their mom is trying to, like, slap cryptocurrency on to, like, make money off of things or monetize things that I just don't think should be monetized, or at least in the way they try to go about doing it. So why can't I just make my own device? This is reminding me of the helium bullshit, that it's like, oh, you need to buy our special hardware for it. Can I make my own? Yeah, and what the... What the... This doesn't make sense. It's like the helium shit. So why can't I make my own? This is just not making sense to me. This is really not making sense to me. Where's your GitHub or anything? Okay, you got a YouTube. You got a Discord there. Okay, hold up. Yeah, this is feeling a little bit grifty to me. So here's the red flag for me, okay? I'm not seeing anywhere for me to actually create my own device. So, like, let's give you an understanding of where I'm coming at with this, okay? Oop. Almost knocked my wine over. Did I put it away? God damn it, did I put it away? I need to clean my desk. I know. That is one reason why I want to take a day off. Okay, but anyway, I think you'll understand it without too much of a visual aid. All right, so this Trezor over here is one of my wallets that I have. This is why I say it feels a little bit grifty to me, okay? So the one thing that I liked about Trezor, and that's the reason why I endorse them heavily, is you can actually make your own Trezor wallet. Where the hell did I put that shit? Yeah, I need to clean my desk. Oh, here it is. Okay. So sorry. So this Trezor wallet here is open sourced. To the point, I made my own Trezor wallet with a Raspberry Pi Zero. These both can use the same Trezor software to administrate them, to prove that they're open source. The thing that concerned me with this, as well as Helium, are the same thing. They're trying to get you to buy their specific hardware, and I don't see any documentation whatsoever to let me make my own. I'm not seeing that anywhere. And that concerns me because it's like they're trying to get you to pay for your own deeper VPN hardware, when in reality, there's nothing unique about these devices. So, like, if you look at, like, the Pico or anything like that, that's gotta be, like, a Raspberry Pi Zero or something like that. Yeah, if it's gonna be decentralized, it should be open source. Like, Blue Sky has a repo that you can check out to understand the code. Mastodon, you can do the same thing. And that's what concerns me about deeper VPN is I poked around here and I am not seeing any mention whatsoever of a repo or anything. In fact, I'm going to CoinMarketCap. I'm not seeing anything. That's really worrisome to me. Yeah, I'm not seeing any, this feels a bit grifty to me. Like they're trying to make, wait. So they do have a GitHub, but do you know what's really fucky? I wanna, like, have you understand, this should not be this convoluted to find things, which makes me really worried about this project overall. So I'm on the deeper VPN, deeper network, all that. They push and push and push all of this stuff, okay? Cybersecurity, 7-layer firewall, parental control, all that. Going through all the different links and everything, okay? I'm going through everything. You go under socials, no mention of a GitHub or anything, right? You got every other network. I had to go to CoinMarketCap, and then under the socials here, then I found their GitHub. They're not even publishing their own GitHub. And then we finally get to here. Now you can actually see what's going on with it. And yeah, they do have, like, stuff apparently posted, but that's just the blockchain layer. So I only see the blockchain layer. I don't see... I don't see any mention of their hardware or anything. You know, the stuff to actually make your, deeper devices. A computer connected to the... Okay, so you can make a node. Hardware requirements. So they have some stuff here, but I don't know. It just... This feels like this is just the blockchain itself, but not so much the networking device. It's like they're actively trying to not let you know how to actually run your own, which this defeats the purpose, because if you're trying to, make these, devices and everything, wouldn't you want people to be able to make their own device instead of depending on buying it from other people? I don't know. There's just some alarm bells with my head going off with this. Yeah. Something 1 + 1 is just not equaling 2 in this. That's all I'm saying. Or maybe it is a decent it is a decent project, but like the reality is it's just so the execution's horrible. Your GitHub should be on your front page there. Your GitHub should have the ability for you to make these nodes and, VPN devices or whatever. But I don't know. It just feels like BS to me. Iron Man referenced Tony Stark was able to this in cave with DeepSeek, and us always says me. Thing you guys have in the USA is that no matter what he does, lawmaking is layered. Yep. What do you think about Parker? I don't know who these creators are that you're talking about. I kind of keep to myself. I think you're talking about creators. They're gonna force us to turn ADP entirely off soon too, and I can't just switch regions because government apps for ID verifications are not available, or banking apps. I mean, it sounds like an issue, not an ish-me. Sorry, just being an asshole there. I hope Putin won't invade my country, Lithuania, in those years. Who knows? I might skedaddle to Portugal. Well, we'll see what the future holds. Yes, the bandwidth sharing doesn't make sense. Basically, everyone is a node from what I understand. Yeah, there's just a few things that don't make sense. Building my first mesh grid node after you shared it. Got a hat for my old pie. Do you mean Meshtastic? Yeah, Meshtastic is great. I'm getting a UB key. Make a video on organizing. Yeah, I like my UB keys. What are the chances people pop into a live hoping for a free promotion of a product just for you to slam it? That happens more often than you realize. I think there's a reason why very few vendors want to deal with me, and the very few vendors that do are the ones that know about their shit. Like, there's very few companies that actually get my love. Lenovo's mutuals with me for a reason. System 76 I've worked with because I actually like their stuff. And like, as some companies have found out, you either give me your product to review, or eventually I will review it, and then the companies that have actually dodged me on reviewing their shit are usually the ones that know and like look through my content and been like, this guy will fucking rake us over the coals. And I've done it. I've done it with several different products. Where it's one of those, like, if I find a company that's trying to duck and dodge me, that makes me want to chase after them that much harder. But if you're a company that is at least on your shit and willing to, work, and be like, hey, yeah, we're working on this issue. We need to get it perfected. I'll give you a little bit more leniency. Like this MNT Pocket Reform, they don't deny that there's a few issues with their stuff. It's still basically an active development and everything. But I came in with the expectation of, I'm going to probably have to tinker with this device. Whereas, yeah, I've had some companies, I've even had a couple of companies that tried to shame me because I didn't cover their product. And I just told them, look, I don't care how much you paid me. I can't cover this product. And I've actually refunded a couple of vendors and said, here's your money back because I can't in good faith work with your project. Second. Who the hell texted me at this hour? Oh. It's just a sale. But yeah, I stand on my morals and ethics when it comes to things. Now, I am trying to work right now, just so you're aware, with PCB Way. There is a project that I'm trying to see if they want to collaborate with me on. They reached out to me a couple months ago if I wanted to work on a project, and at the time, I didn't have anything that I was ready to work on, but now I have my first project I'm hoping that they're okay with. I emailed them just on Friday. I haven't heard anything back. I'm looking at getting this top remade here with my logo in an anodized aluminum that matches this color. I know they have this purple because PCB Way is apparently who made the chassis for this laptop, as well as all the anodized aluminum components and a lot of the circuitry and stuff they have from inside here. So I'm looking forward to having my first tinkering project with them and seeing how we can promote their company to a lot of my audience, because they do a lot of great work in the tinkering department, and they're one of those like unknown companies unless you deal inside the tinkering space. So, yeah. Haven't worked with them officially yet, but I've heard very good things from a lot of my machinist friends and 3D printing and you know, electronic manufacturing friends and all that. So, it'll be interesting. I'm really happy, though, with this laptop so far. I just got to work with a couple of issues that I've had with it. How are the hinges? I've had loads of... The hinges on this are freaking sturdy as hell. Like, look how thick those hinges are. It's a solid hinge. Like, hey, getting money in the daytime, even counting when I sleep. Wake up to getting bread, bitch, I do this for the streets. ADHD. Thank you for that sub there, Wicked Smile. Thank you. As I was saying, the hinges are pretty damn solid. Like, let me unplug this for a sec so you can see. Do you see how I'm shaking this? And it's holding pretty well. Who sings that? Oh, I have a friend that was local to me. Snicka Philosophical, like snickering. He made that. Is it mostly battery? She's thick. It's thick because they have a lot of space in here. So they designed it with the idea of you'll be able to tinker and upgrade and all that. I'll show you. It's also designed to be completely repairable. off the switch. Okay, so the top is, let's get this moved up so I can get some space. And let's turn the light on just a little bit more. So part of why it's also thick is, not only is it the battery and all those other stuff, but it's got a mechanical keyboard, so it needs a lot of space for all the things. Not to mention, they just give an adequate amount of room for you to tinker around with. Now, this device is designed to be completely right to repair and open source, so you can 3D print, CNC every single part in here. So that's the top with the CPU in the system on a chip. And then there's two M.2 slots, one for an NVMe, which is PCI Express. One is, this is USB signaling, but it's M.2, so you can add like a 4G cell modem in here. You can add, you can do a lot with this little guy. Anyway, what I was thinking of doing was running, if I got space, actually I can measure that out right now. So I got these two antennas here. I got two more coming. See how that is. But the idea that I had was if I could possibly put both in the bezels. Let me see. If I got room. So yeah, I could slap both of these behind the screen bezel and then plug that into the wireless modem. So the idea is, I'm not taking the bezel off right now because there's some magnets and stuff I don't want to futz with. God damn it. I don't want to lose the antenna, though. So imagine, if you would, imagine it's under the bezel. There's gaps in here that look like it could fit the antenna entirely. And then I could route the cable through there. So yeah, I have plenty of space, I think, to route this. Yeah. So you have that over there, and as you can see, there's a little bit of gap in everything in there, and that's because they want the module to be replaceable. So this system on a chip over here can be replaced. Now, the pre-order units come with an IMX8M Plus. You can also use a Raspberry Pi Compute Module 4. You can also use an RK3588 package they've put together, or a Banana Pi A311D. The A311D is a little bit faster. The RK3588 is the fastest, but the A311D, I believe, and I know the RK3588 requires you to add a wireless card because they don't have them installed. So I will have to get rid of the 4G modem if I do those, which is why I'm trying to get the IMX8M Plus working with it. So I got the Captain tape, though, to tape down this little display ribbon over here. But yeah. So that's one side of it, and there's a SIM card holder in there. There's definitely a lot of space in there for you to route your cable around. But yeah, I've just been playing with the positioning and everything there. Let me get this side back in. And then I can flip it over and show you the batteries. Now, of course, you can take off. You could take this completely apart. The iFixit teardown shows how to do a lot of that. I want a terracotta pot as a case for a banana pie. Terracotta pot. I'm really looking forward to making a new aluminum case for this. Because I think it'd be nice if I got an aluminum top. Make it all purple. Match that color at the top. Get my logo in. Because I think it'll be really cool if I end up having two laptops with my design, my logo on them, and just really lean more into the personalized laptops. I can't wait until my other laptop comes in. That'll be interesting to get that working on Pop OS because they have their own drivers and a software that integrates closely into controlling the firmware and everything. I think that'll be really interesting. Plus, I think it'll be really interesting when I can show that my Linux laptop has more customizability than any Windows laptop. Because every person that buys a Windows laptop, gaming, they all look the same. You're all getting the same off-the-shelf laptop with the same components, and there's nothing unique about them. Whereas you're going to see a laptop that has my logo. Down to the super key itself is going to have my logo. All right, so let's open up the back so you can see what I'm talking about. Now, the thing I also love about this laptop is they've open sourced every single component, so you can either buy replacements directly from MNT, or you can buy it from anyone else, or you can even send the schematics off to have them be machined. I've never seen a laptop with as much information about their device as I have the MNT. Like, straight up, they have all the details you need out there that if you wanted to, you could send off all the pieces to get everything manufactured by somebody entirely different. Okay, so let's open the bottom. This is where the battery is going to be. Okay. There you go. So you have these two 4,000 milliampere polymer packs. That just made me realize I probably need to get some kind of an adhesive. Now, they do have SLA 3D printed brackets over here. You have the mechanical keyboard over there. Now, that's another reason why this needed some extra space, is you have the mechanical keyboard, you have the battery charger. So if you look, that battery charger is pretty much what's taking up most of the height. So it's actually thick because everything is designed to be replaceable and upgradable, and yeah, it's if you want a thin device, you're gonna design it to be replaced. If you want a device to be repairable, it's not going to be a thin device. That's just the reality of it. Because a lot of the components that are going to allow you to have repairability and replaceability are pieces that are going to add thickness. Overall, it's still a pretty small device. Now, a lot of kids today might be spoiled and say, well, that's too thick. Like, this is thin by the standards of the laptops and stuff that I grew up with. Now, I will say that looking at that, I did realize that I need to get some foam strips. I'll be very happy once I can get an RK3588 in here with 32 gigabytes of RAM, fix the thermals, get the battery issue resolved. Framework looks so cool, but it's stupid expensive. Yeah, and that's the other thing is, like, framework is a really cool and interesting concept, except for the fact that it's not as right to repair friendly as I would like. Because the reality is, if anything goes wrong, I still end up having to replace that entire board. Now, I do like the customizability factor of it. I do like the fact you can still source components, but yeah. It's still framework parts. Exactly. Whereas this, this is completely open sourced. You can still get, parts from MNT, but the parts themselves are open sourced. And if MNT happens to go out of business, I don't have an issue having to rely on MNT parts. Back foam. Anti-gravity foam kit. The foam kit. Okay, so what's an anti-gravity foam kit? Ensuring good fit and help. Okay. Okay. It's just a fit of different batteries in. That makes sense. Okay. Just had to turn that back on. See, the university I go through does laptops with each degree. I'd rather have something like that than a fucking MacBook Pro. Well, yeah, the MacBook Pro is not that good for a lot of things that people want to do. The reality is, it's actually just overpriced. And Apple knows that if they get students hooked in early on, they're going to use the Apple for most of their career. That's the reason why Apple is so emphatic on getting them into schools and everything. When the reality is, a lot of people that use them have a realization after a while that no, they're not that great. Hold on, I'm trying to find the anti-gravity battery foam. Okay. Fastest delivery. Yeah, I found it funny, so it switched over my default card. Okay. Let me see. Hold on, account. Yeah, I'll figure this out in a little bit. Here we go. Payments. So I did this thing where I found out that Amazon gives you a So I set up Amazon. I requested an Amazon credit card from them because they give you $100 gift card. Not planning on using it, but yeah. So, like, one, it can take a beating. 2 parts in repairability. Yeah, like the MacBook is a pain in the ass if you want to have a sustainably repairable device. Yeah, and the Apple's just it's not a good device. They're really overpriced. Like, let's put it this way. I have apparently blown several developers' minds when I tell them, like, I can't justify a Mac for the price. And they're like, well, I just had to spend, like, I just spent $4,000 on a laptop. And I look at them and I say, so let me guess. You got just enough components for what you need. And I'm like, you know, your laptop would have paid for 2 of mine. They're like, well, you must not have gotten a good laptop. And I'm like, I have an AMD 8-core 16-thread CPU, 96 gigabytes of RAM, an NVIDIA 4070, 2 terabytes of NVMe SSD, and a 3-year warranty for $2,500. Oh, and when I tell them, like, and 125 of that was for me to get my logo put on the back of the laptop and my icon to be put on the super key, you know, the start button. Their mind's actually blown when I tell them stuff like that. I don't understand why a lot of people put themselves through the Apple hellhole. I'd rather spend the few $100 to get this than I would to and still deal with the issues of repairing this. Okay, now this is not turning on. Did I do something stupid? Yeah, I didn't turn it on all the way. I didn't flick the switch all the way. That's what I did. Apple is built to fall. Look, Lewis Rossman. Yeah, Lewis is actually who I had to look up for a lot of the repairs when I had a MacBook back in the day. I don't care for Apple devices. Even though I use the Apple iPhone, a lot of that has more to do with the fact that I'm locked into their ecosystem, um, with a lot of the old apps I've used than anything. But I can pick up an Android and be just fine using it. I do that all the time. Everyone's like shocked when they see me with Apple and Pixel phones, and I'm like, I just don't trust Google for the wallet side of things. I love this laptop so much. You're probably going to be seeing me use this laptop a lot more as I get it working more and more. It's just such a great form factor. The one complaint I've had so far, in terms of like genuine complaints with this laptop, is so the shift key is only on the left. I would have liked the shift key also on the right. That's just me. You should trust Google more, its friend. I don't trust Google for shit. It's really hard for me to trust putting anything of mine in Google. Whereas Apple, it's a little bit easier to trust because, at least for certain things, because Apple hasn't been in the business of collecting my data to sell my data. They were the ones pushing for a lot of the privacy features that pissed companies off. Like, they were the first ones I remember asking apps if you want your data to be tracked, and pissed off Meta because, now people had to actually tell them to give your data and stuff like that. Now, I will say that because I think this is running on Debian Unstable, I've had a couple of weird issues with it. Like, I did have to install Flatpak just to get LibreOffice working properly on this. But I do like the fact that dark mode worked out the box. But this will be great for me when I want to start writing a script or anything. And then I can use ChatGPT on the go to be able to review my scripts until I get my LLM working locally. Or not locally, but at least working through a website that I can access myself. Now, I will say that Wi-Fi is a little bit slower on this device. A lot of that has to do with the fact that the chipset in here isn't the fastest. Like, let me see. Like, this is at 12 megabits a second. The Ethernet's definitely faster. This is still one of the most satisfying typing experiences. I like this keyboard a lot better than Lenovo's. And Lenovo already, just so you understand, has my highest regard for a keyboard in a laptop. I like how clicky this is. Now, they do make a less clicky keyboard, but eh. I felt like this kind of size laptop, I needed the clickiness. I need people to be able to hear my thoughts. Let's see what packages you've got. Okay, it's packaging, it's unpacking a few different updates and everything. I just keep updating, hoping that, there's gonna be a, firmware or something that's gonna fix my Wi-Fi little issues. Would you marry Google? No, if I was gonna play Fuck, Marry, Kill, Google would be the one I'd kill. Okay, so it looks like they got a new Linux kernel pulling in right now. And that's what's interesting is they have a kernel. It's literally Linux image 6.12.16-MNT reform ARM64. So they have their own MNT fork of the kernel they're compiling. Hmm. That's interesting. Alright, it's doing its little system updates. I still need to figure out the way that I can share my screen on this. I still haven't figured that out, but I'm also not running a full desktop environment like GNOME. I probably will do that when I get an RK3588, because I'll have a little bit more resources to spare. I'm curious now. Nope. Hmm. I was just trying to look up how you're supposed to pay the Amazon credit card and all that. Okay. Are you using OBS? Yes, I am. I like OBS a little bit better for all of my stuff, especially because it's open source. It's how I do my simulcasting and everything. Um, so yeah, I'll have OBS on my new Linux laptop once that comes in. That should be fun. I find it interesting. It's saying 49% battery life, but the battery cells are still not reporting all that much. It's a 0.4 volt difference, so I have a feeling, yeah, it's one of the two in here. So now let's see if the new kernel boots in just fine. I really wish that it would let me change the default color pulled in. I'll figure that out later. I still got more tinkering to do with this. Like, I still got to put the NVMe SSD in there and have it boot on an encrypted Lux. What is your most retro hardware? Probably my IBM Model M keyboard that I have. That's one of the only things I have left over from a flood that survived. I had to throw away my old Windows XP and NT boxes because they just got flooded with sewage and shit. It was upsetting. Network display infrastructure in OBS. I've played a little bit with NDI, but not too much. Control Shift T. Okay, so that doesn't have a tabbed browser. No sump pump. House is too old for that. And this was before I got the sewer line replaced. That was a pain in the ass. So flaky, but works okay if you have solid network between the devices. Yeah, it works alright when I played with it a little bit because I have a hardwired Ethernet throughout the house. So I can do a lot of different things like that, but it's not something I've needed to work on too much. Oh yeah, I got Rhythmbox in here. I forgot about that. I also have a new IX to Ethernet adapter coming in because this one's IX to male Ethernet. So I have an IX to female Ethernet. I think that's going to be a little bit better when I travel because most of the time I'm going to need to jack in with an actual Ethernet cable or that. But I'll at least have both options. But I've been trying to fix the issue with Wi-Fi dropping. So like what'll happen is my network will be good for like 20 or 30 minutes. Then what I think is happening is the device is overheating and then Wi-Fi will drop on it until I plug in Ethernet and the device cools down a little bit. So that's why I got some thermal pads, and I'm also looking at the what you call it, other device, the thermal fixes and everything like that. Why do new hardware come with thin Ethernet? What do you mean thin Ethernet? Yep, see the Wi-Fi just dropped in this. And there's a high amount of retries. Then I can drop it into IX, and then IX will have me back online. Yeah, I'm thinking it's an overheating thing. Because if I disconnect it for a while and then try reconnecting, it'll work again. Apparently, I'm not the only one that's reported this issue, too. In the grand scheme, it's a minor thing, and I can always add another wireless card. But the fact that I can actually do all this stuff makes me happy. Because with other manufacturers and all that, you're at the mercy of the vendor. Like the Ethernet is thinner that ends on new laptops. Well, it's because we're dealing with regular Ethernet cables. So if you're still using the RJ45 connection, yeah, it'll be an issue. What I think we should be adopting is the IX standard, which this laptop has. See how small this connector is? That's Ethernet. This is an Ethernet connection, just over a new format. Why? Speed benefits? No, there's no speed. It's physically different. It's still gigabit. It's still able to do all the same physical benefits and everything. It's just a new physical connector. This new physical connector is able to fit in smaller formats. Like this would barely fit a full RJ45. But we can at least do this. Trying to make sure shutdown is still working on this. Oh, that must have been a fluke on the last one. But yeah, I'm working right now on the Wi-Fi issues and the battery issues and the thermal issues with it. But I think we'll be able to get it working completely the way I want. Looks like regular RJ45, but only one row up and down. What do you mean one row? There's only one row of 8 pins. Not sure what you mean by that. Oh, benefits? There's plenty. If you look at the full RJ45 connection in a laptop now, they have to have this like jaw that flips around, which can mechanically break off. The other thing is, the IX connection is a lot more secured than a flimsy little plastic tab. So I'm actually a fan of this connector here. Now the downside is that with an IX connector, you can't crimp your own connectors as easily. That's one drawback, I will be honest. But overall, this is my first time dealing with an IX connection, and I actually really like it. Yeah, I don't know. Your thing might be doing something a little bit out of spec. It's kind of hard to see without looking at it. But overall, I'm looking forward to the next couple of weeks of making content. I'm going to be getting back to the swing of doing things in YouTube, especially with this little DJI little camera there. This is so fun to play with. And the other nice thing is, when I go to DEF CON and stuff, I can actually use this as the stream camera if I happen to be on Twitch. Because I can plug that into USB and use it as a camera, apparently. I'll have to test that out to see how well it works on Linux, but it is a definitive possibility. Either way, it'll be nice to at least be able to record with this, plug in the DJI mic too, and then be able to record what I need, and then plug it into my Linux laptop and do all the editing of videos so I can possibly have vlogs out there while I am covering DEF CON and such. So, this year should be pretty fun for a lot of these things. And, covering the actual event, and then because of the virtue that, the DJI Mic 2 kit that I got has 2 different transmitters, I could actually interview people while at DEF CON, talk to friends that I run into, and get a little bit more in-depth on the content that I'm creating. What about Cat 6? But yeah, I really like this DJI Mic 2. It's a really nice setup, I think. Although it is a little bit expensive, I will not deny. I'm really surprised at how well DJI makes shit, though. And I was kind of surprised at how much I fell in love with the DJI Mic 2, the Pocket Cam 2, and just how it all seamlessly works together. And yeah, I should have picked up this shit earlier, to be completely honest. But it is what it is. It's really remarkable just how far you've been touched by the boogeyman. Yeah, I really can't wait to start using this a little bit more. Maybe when I go to install my node on my roof and stuff, I'll actually take this to the roof and test it out. My workspace consists of 2 laptops on one side, a modern gaming laptop running Windows 11 32GB RAM on the other, MacBook running Mint. I used to run with a lot of laptops for my workspace and everything. The issue was that laptops, while they're great for portability, have a lot of limitations when you use them as actual workstations. Because of, thermal throttling and things like that, which is why I have the big desktops now to do all that. Like, because this 5950X can go balls to the walls as well as the NVIDIA 3070 without any issue. I'm not doing backflips off the roof. That's what I get you to do it for. If you're seeing any traffic on your network or it's sending data back home, I was worried they were going to legislate my DJI drone and shut it down. No, because the DJI Pocket Camera 3 isn't connected to any network, nor is the DJI Mic 2. They merely just connect to each other. And then I take the data off the SD card into that. Now, you can wirelessly connect to your DJI over Bluetooth, apparently, to your phone, and do editing and stuff like that off of it, but no, it's not doing anything weird or funky, if that's what you're asking. This case is super nice, though. I like it compared to the newer one, because this one will hold my little windscreens and all the accessory cables and everything in there. I think DJI overall is a nicer little setup. I'm gonna probably end up looking at the DJI drones, especially as I work on my FAA drone pilot license as part of my private license. I think it'll be worthwhile. Now, I did have to activate this on my phone because they do have that requirement. Not a serious question. I was being sarcastic about DJI cutting off because it's a Chinese company that make good products. Yeah, I know. That is a legitimate concern, though, that a lot of people are having. because they are a Chinese company. And the government's getting stupid where they've even classified legitimate gaming companies as military companies. Oh, what's in my hand? That's my new camera. This is the DJI Pocket Camera 3. So it's a gimbal camera capable of 4K. So here. Basically, I don't know if you can see the picture that well on there. But yeah, I'm gonna be using it to record my content rather than on a smartphone. One, this gives me better picture. Two, I'm trying to get away from being on my smartphone so much for everything. This TikTok's an addictive son of a bitch. But yeah, this is gonna be my preferred camera to do most of my recording on if I'm not at my desk. There is a new camera that I will be using to record at my desk. I can show that actually. I gotta set it up, but I got the Elgato teleprompter with it. This is the Sony ZVE10. I just gotta sit down and set up the capture card and all that jazz. That's the new camera that will be replacing the current camera you're watching me through. Although, I'll probably have that one as an overhead camera. The flag mean you're a pirate? No, it's the DEFCON flag. So, yeah, I am looking forward to upgrading some of my content quality and everything. About time to move on up with some of this shit. Moving on up, moving on up. Defcon, I think, has been using the Jolly Roger longer than the Pirates Online have actually been using it. They're what? 30 or some odd years? What are you on? Defcon 33? Yeah, it would have been longer than a lot of the online internet pirates we've seen. Ugh. To a deluxe apartment in the sky. What? Ugh. Well, that's just a question. Oh, yeah. Okay, sorry to answer that. So, I'm trying to think, but I'm getting brain farts right now. Here's a skybox. Yep, to a deluxe apartment in the sky. Oh, yeah. Yeah, the Jeffersons. Yeah, that was a good show back in the day. Also, I've been watching Abbott Elementary, trying to catch up on that. Now that, I caught up on The Rookie and Will Trent. So, those are great. Also been watching Solo Leveling, which was a Korean anime, but I'm waiting for them to dub a couple more episodes. Yeah. I started rewatching Aqua Teen Hunger Force as well as Rurouni Kenshin. I've just been having an interesting mood lately. I don't know why. It's on season 2. Yeah, I know it's on season 2, but like I'm at the point right now on Crunchyroll where Solo Leveling is not an English dub anymore, so I have to wait for them to dub those, and they're still coming out with the new episodes and all that. I don't suppose you'd be into The Chosen. I haven't seen that one, but Nakamoto. I haven't seen those. Yeah, I'm all caught up with Solo Leveling. What was the other one I wanted to watch? I finished watching, was it Overlord? Overlord was a good show. Waiting for the next season to come out. When is that set to do, though? Have you seen Magic Maker? I haven't. Overlord TV series. Yeah, we're waiting for, I think it was season 5 of Overlord. I want to watch Mr. Robot again. So the thing that annoyed me with Mr. Robot was they didn't come out with, after season 1, it kind of just went, that's just my opinion. Battery foam. I'm looking up battery foam adhesive strips for the MNT Pocket Reform. Static glue strips. Scrapbook adhesives. I think those might be it. Yeah, I'm trying to just at least get some more. Let's see. Would it have been 1 or 2 millimeter? I'm pretty sure it would have been 2 millimeter. Okay. Foam adhesive. Yeah, I think it would be 2, maybe 3 millimeter. So I will definitely have to look that up. Can I acquire some of your finest thermite? I watched Magic Maker. It's another World Series. Interesting. Yeah, a lot of the old I don't know. It's like a lot of the new anime I just can't get too into, but Solo Leveling was an interesting concept. Foam adhesive. Okay, foam adhesive 2 millimeter. It's gotta be like 2 millimeter. Okay, let's see. Okay, so 2 millimeter, 5 meter, 8. Jeez, it's gonna be quite a bit. What permissions do I need to use thermite? You don't need permission to use thermite. Thermite can be legally acquired. Now, the question is more so about what do you do with the thermite? That, I think, is the bigger question. Okay, so I got 2mm thick foam. That should be enough for the batteries, I think. Yeah, because I have a feeling that was like a 2mm thick foam. Yeah, that should be enough. Well, all thermite is really just what, like rust shavings kind of deal? You need an FEL FBP to use thermite. Not from what I remember. I mean, look, if you can buy tannerite without much issue, you can get thermite. It depends on what you're doing with it. But I know thermite is actually used for, welding. Oh yeah, Massachusetts just sucks. How are the puppers doing? They're doing alright. They're just big pains in the ass. You know. Yeah, check your local laws. So where I'm at, I don't need that, because I'm in a state that actually lets you be free. But, yeah, it depends on your local laws and regulations and all that stuff. But where I'm at, thermite doesn't require licensing. As far as I recall. We use thermite for welding different joints and stuff like that. I live in a state with angry Irish people. Well, that's just because they're Irish, man. Yeah, thermite. I mean, I remember, what was it? I was introduced to thermite with thebroken.org when they made a video back in the day, pre-YouTube, showing us how to make a self-destructing laptop, and they packed in a laptop with a ton of thermite and then had a switch that literally just melted the laptop. Now, thermite is some dangerous stuff to mess with. You can easily throw that in a coffee can, set that on fire, basically, to ignite, and it will eat right through an engine block. Do you think you will run for public office? I know you mentioned it a few weeks ago. I don't know about this election, but it's been something I've, contemplated doing. I'm torn between getting the fuck out of this country or getting to run for politics, but we'll see what the future holds. Right now, it's more about making sure I can build myself a proper life and future. Once I'm on better footing and all that, then maybe. The honest truth is, I'm not opposed to using my platform to platform politicians that want to better understand politics. Tech and everything. But as far as me getting into politics, the problem is, I've also been very burnt out from politics being a political activist a few years ago. And just dealing with idiocy, which is why I focus more on tech and everything. But I haven't ruled it out completely. But yeah. My uncle's running for mayor of a smaller town. He's afraid to leave his house now. Yeah, see, that's the kind of thing that I'm worried about. Is as it is, I'm kind of the weird private person, even though I make content and everything. Like, if you run up to me in a cybersecurity conference and say hi, I'll be friendly and chat with you. But I also have my moments where I'm like, get the fuck away from me. I just want to go to my hotel room and fuck all of you. But also, I don't do political speak that well. Look, I'm bi. Fuck all of you could either mean you can all fuck off or I will have an orgy, okay? It could depend on the mood, alright? But the issue is I'm not a politician in the sense of giving, like the political speak like you see politicians do all the time. I will be one of those people that'll tell you to fuck right off. Like, I will not mince words. And that's what I'm worried about, is all that. Plus, the reality of what I hate about, a lot of politics is people will go into your garbage of your history and stuff like that and pull the most mundane things out of pocket and out of context and everything. And I haven't shied away from any of you. I was an asshole in high school. I have also told you straight up, the me that was even 10 years ago, I fucking hate that guy. And I would totally, if I had an opportunity to go back in time with the DeLorean at 88 miles an hour, bitch slap myself. Because I was a fucking moron. Every one of us is probably a moron when we were, 25 or younger. And, like, I definitely have some stupid statements out there that I don't agree with. I definitely don't at least have, like, any blackface moments or that like you see politicians. I'm thankful for that. But I know people would twist my words, and you have to remember also, I was a fucking troll years ago, all right? I was a horrible asshole. Like, to give you an idea of how much of a troll, I was on 4chan a lot. There's a reason why I know so much about the Anon conspiracy and lore, with Anonymous and everything like that. And I will be honest with all of you and say, like, there's definitely a lot of shit I said out there back when I had my Facebook profile and everything that was intentionally to troll people. And yeah, I was a fucking asshole. And I don't want to deal with that in politics. Like, my political, rebuttal to anyone, like, pulling shit out of my, history or anything would be, let he who is without sin play 5 minutes of a random Xbox Live chat that they had. Like, oh my God. Like, we had Call of Duty lobbies. Y'all know what I'm talking about how horrible that shit was, okay? You would go into a COD lobby and you'd have, like, sexist, misogynist, racist shit just thrown about. Like, everyone was trying to be the edgiest edgelord in the COD lobby. You know what I'm talking about? Like, if I were to go for politics, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I just hope they don't keep the voice logs. Like, have you seen that meme of the guy? Like, it's a freaking skit of a guy going through an interview, and they just play back his Xbox Live chat. Have you seen that? It's hilarious. I need to find it. I wish politics, not policy, was the politics of years ago. I watched videos of debates from the 1960s all the way up to the ones I saw live with Obama and years ago. It was so civilized. I remember when Obama and McCain were debating. Okay? I remember that as a kid. Because that was the year before I could actually vote. And I remember McCain shot down someone. I forget what it was about, but like it was someone who voted for McCain, and McCain was like, no, I know Obama. We may disagree on things, but he is a great American. He is a great patriot. And, you know, it was civil. Even Mitt Romney versus Obama was civil. I have never seen such nastiness in politics. Yeah, it was over the birther shit. That's right. You're right. It was like they were accusing him of not being an American, and McCain shot that down in his debate. Trump is the one that came out with this whole birther shit years ago. Do you remember that? Obama needs to produce his, you know, birth records and everything. And then when Obama did produce his, you know, birth certificate, suddenly Trump changed. Like, everyone forgets, Trump has been full of shit for years. I don't remember if I did anything bad on the internet. I was banned from League chat for over 1,400 games. Well, your first problem was being in League of Legends. Your second problem was speaking in League of Legends. That was back when the Tea Party was seen as insane and that Sarah Palin was the worst. I'd take her over Bobo or Marjorie. Yeah, Sarah Palin was a lot more sane than anything else. And, like, the funny thing is, I remember the worst thing that anybody said about Sarah Palin was mostly, like, I can see Russia from my house, which wasn't even her. That was an SNL skit. I called Darius my wife. I got banned for it. Well, like I said, your first problem was playing League of Legends. No healthy person likes League of Legends. But, yeah, like, politics became such a shit show, and I don't understand how it was allowed to become this way. I haven't played it for years now. Well, I bet you probably went to therapy. She was the Tea Party side of McCain's campaign. Bad shit insane. Compared to Marjorie Taylor Greene or Lauren Boebert, Sarah Palin is a lot more sensical. She wasn't doing the Jewish space laser core or anything like that. Thank you for the follow, Mogart. Obama's real dad is Frank Marshall. Donald Frank Marshall and his mom posed for his dad's spicy photos. What the hell are you going on about? Aim for cybersecurity, I stay for the politics. Do you follow politics closely or far away? I follow it with a bottle of wine. As I say, I keep up with politics because even though I may not like to fuck with politics, politics will fuck with you. But also, like, I don't remember half the shit that, you know, used to happen years ago. Like, I don't understand how we got to where politics is now, where insanity seems to be the norm and all this shit. I don't get it. Roger Stone has been around since Nixon, Reagan, and Bull, Bush, Trump. Yeah. Here's what I would say. People all have their plan, but whether they're competent in their plan is a whole other thing. There's a lot of incompetent people that have gotten into power. Not just with Trump's years, just even before then. Although with Trump and everything, it really feels like a left hand doesn't know what the right hand is doing situation with a bunch of things going on. It's like I know a lot of the people out there keep trying to compare Donald Trump to the funny mustache man from Germany, and all I keep saying is like Adolf had some actual smart people around him. Yes, loyalty was a factor, but he had competent people around him. Of course, evil plan. But the fact that we're like 1 month into the presidency and you can definitely tell the Trump administration doesn't understand what they're doing, and now suddenly it's like, oh, Elon Musk isn't who's running Doge. Pretty sure you were the one that openly said he's running Doge. Yeah, everyone's getting to be crazy on this. Anyone in your job getting affected by Trump's executive orders or anything? Not in my job, but I have friends that are working for government and stuff like that, and some people are getting affected. It's definitely caused a lot of chaos and confusion for quite a few of my colleagues. Not to mention the legitimate security concerns around how Elon Musk has been handling the access to a lot of the different departments and divisions and everything. It's really shocking to see how ignorant a lot of Americans are with not just cybersecurity, but classification. They don't seem to understand that just because someone does get, security clearance does not mean you're cleared for everything. Elon Musk having as much access as he does to a lot of different agencies is a security risk in and of itself, not because it's Elon Musk per se. That's a whole other issue of security risks and everything. But one person, no matter what the reasoning, should not have as much access to sensitive data in as many areas as they do. It's the principle of least privilege. The reality is you don't want any one particular person having that much control or access, because if they get compromised, there's more things that can potentially be at risk. First month of the Trump admin has been a very long decade. I've aged about 50 years. Oh, yeah. I totally can relate to that. No Millet in USA. You mean, Javier Millet? Isn't that the Argentinian president, if I'm not mistaken? He's a schmuck. I think that's his name. Hold on. Yeah, Javier Millet, president of Argentina. Yeah, he's a schmuck. Wasn't Javier Millet the one that was alleged to be a libertarian, more on the anarchist side, or am I thinking of someone else? Yeah, he's a bit of an idiot. He's a putz. Yep, that's what I thought. Okay. And I say that as someone who leans more libertarian, but he's a putz. Wonder what Elon Musk does to secure his data. Well, based on the fact that, the Doge website database was actually open and anyone could write to it, and they actually wrote classified data to the website as well. Probably not much. The honest truth is Elon Musk does not understand the basics of cybersecurity. If we actually look back into the original X.com project that was acquired by PayPal back in the day, they had security issues where you could actually transfer money out just by knowing someone's account number. He started a meme coin and apologized with a rogue poll. Are we talking about... No. Elon Musk didn't start a meme coin. He merely piggybacked on Dogecoin, which was the original meme coin. Are you talking about Javier Milei? I thought there was a, Oh, yeah. Javier Milei. A whole different meme coin. Yeah, sorry. I got that. Yeah, Javier ran his own meme coin. Elon did Dogecoin. Sorry, I was just... There were a few people I already had to correct that were, like, talking about how Elon Musk created a meme coin. So that's what I was thinking of. Javier Milei, the president of Argentina, created a meme coin. Or at least piggybacked on one. Elon Musk did not create a meme coin, but he has promoted Doge. Rug pulls are going to hurt crypto's reputation. Definitely. The problem with cryptocurrency... I like cryptocurrency. Let me put that out there first. The problem with cryptocurrency is all the people grifting in cryptocurrency. I still like Monero, I still like Bitcoin, I still like Cardano, and a few other coins, but yeah, all these get-rich-quick schemes and rug pulls and all that is really what's going to harm cryptocurrency in the long term. I definitely agree with that. Well, I am really starting to fade, guys, so I'm going to be cutting the stream probably out a little bit early. Sorry to do this to y'all, but, like, I don't think I'm gonna be able to last until, like, about 11:30 when I normally do. It's been a long day. But I want to thank all of you for joining me, and if you haven't already, make sure to follow me on all of my socials. I'm on TikTok, I'm on Twitch, I'm on YouTube, I am on Mastodon, I'm on Blue Sky, and, of course, we do have the Discord server and the Matrix server, so if you haven't already... join me there. We do a movie night once a week as well. But yeah, I thank all of you. Stick around for the raid if you're on Twitch. I'll be back on Tuesday. Tuesday evening, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard. We're on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard. Sorry, I am just fading right now, and I can tell if I stick around for another 30 minutes, you're gonna be catching, Chief Geek 3D going Chief Sleep 3D. So, I love y'all, and I will see you around later. Stick around for the raid if you're on Twitch.